Is that okay? Does anyone have any questions? So I need stories. Please give me some stories. I'll talk to Jerry about that too, but you know, we like to have.
We have a story. No.
Yeah, it's not ready for a paper yet.
No, I need stories. There's been a lot going on. They've been picking up a lot of tips and things like that. So with fall coming, if there's any kind of activities, Sylvia, you can think of, call me.
I can call you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Karen.
I can write about your tree plants. Yeah.
It's one of the biggest ones that we've done on one.
They didn't do one yet on that? I think I told them about it, but we'll go ahead and talk and I'll get your information.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. This is a really small one tonight. You guys will get out of here on time.
We'll see.
I don't know. Well, I'm not going to say anything too controversial, I don't think. I'm just following up the, well, okay, sorry. Laura Jacko, 437 North Avenue. So following up on the tree planting, we have it scheduled for November 2nd. That was one of the dates that was requested by council, so I was able to get that. Kind of cool to know it's actually being done in conjunction with Penn Hills planting. So they're doing Penn Hills and Verona on the same day. And the Penn Hills one, they're going to be doing a lot of the trees that were cut down in Allegheny River Boulevard. So that'll be really cool to see that be redone. I have some just notifications and requests, kind of like housekeeping. For the first one, they need like volunteers to be able to use the bathroom. Can I have someone open up the Borough Building just so that bathrooms are available for people on the 2nd? Would that be possible from 9 until noon?
The second is Saturday?
It's a Saturday,
I'll
yeah.
have the officer have it open.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
November 2nd.
Yeah, and just so you guys don't think I'm being rude, I wrote down my notes on my phone so I wouldn't forget to ask you guys anything. I'm not like just on Facebook while I'm talking to you. And so thank you, that's good. People need to pee, so, you know. And then just kind of as an FYI too, since I know there's people here that oversee the grounds crews and things, about a week beforehand, they're gonna try and let me know the exact day, but I might not get too much notice, so just FYI, about a week beforehand, a crew's gonna come out and dig the holes. They backfill them back in with the dirt, so it's like very loose dirt, so it's easy for those volunteers to go out and like plant them afterwards, so there's not gonna be just holes for people to fall into. But FYI, in case someone happens to be around in a park and saying, hey, who are these people with a backhoe in my park? Well, I don't think it's a backhoe, but you know, whatever. You've been informed. In case you happen to see them, that's what they're doing. And I don't know what council has done before in regards to food, but normally we feed, I guess we're asked to feed the volunteers like donuts and pizza and stuff. And so I didn't know if like the Shade Tree Commission had any sort of a budget for that or anything like that. I'm gonna ask places for donations. The Oakmont Barbecue Company has already said that they're gonna donate some food, which is pretty great, I thought. But I thought I'd also ask if traditionally council or if there was a budget or anything like that where some money was kicked in towards helping to feed volunteers / give them water.
I don't think
Anyone
that was
know?
put into the budget because we didn't know anything about this.
Or I didn't know if like the Shade Tree Commission had one or parks, or maybe the rec board has one, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe the rec board could do
Always
that.
go to Giant Eagle and with a letter, with your letterhead on it, and they'll give you a gift card and you can buy drinks or something like that.
Oh, good. Yeah, I mean, I'll solicit donations and stuff too. I just wanted to check, like, I guess they give like tax letters too if
Parks and Rec.
there are places like us or other places that do it. And speaking of, did we sort out the Shade Tree Commission thing?
I prepared a new ordinance, and I meant to have it advertised for passage today. I didn't get it in the paper in time.
Tisk.
So,
Okay.
they can do it at the workshop meeting if they want to, or they
Okay.
can do it at the regular meeting next time. That's my fault.
Okay, no, that's okay. Well, I'll keep on it, because you know how I am. Sorry.
Did we decide are we just adding more people? Or did somebody have to step down?
No, you're going to increase the membership from 5 to 7. We found that you're able to do that, or 3 to 5, whatever it was.
I think it was 3 to 5.
At last
Yeah.
meeting.
Okay.
I think it was because the ordinance actually didn't agree with itself. Like in one place it said 3, in one place it said 5. So
Says it shall be 3, and then in the next section it says, unless council wants it to be 5.
Good times. So I think that's pretty much everything. I actually do have the Allegheny, Western PA Conservancy has a sign up online, and I can share that with everybody. If anybody wants to come out and help, that'd be great. Like I said, Oakmont Barbecue Company has already said they're going to donate food, so we're going to have good food this year. And it'll be one of the larger plantings that we've ever done, apparently, so it should be really nice. So spread the word.
Laura, could you go over again where the trees are going to go?
Yeah, they're down these two lower park areas. So down here and then over in Riverbank Park. And I don't have the maps with me, but they were provided previously. I think one of the biggest things is that we're going to get like a tree break along Railroad here, so that'll help with erosion of that little hill, which is really cool. Or it'll help prevent erosion of the small hill on the side of.
Approximately how many trees along here?
I know overall we're doing 20 trees, so, and that's going to be split between the two parks. Oh, thank you. So, there you go.
Do you have any volunteers signing up already?
Can I see that map?
You do?
Yeah, I have
How
a
many
Facebook, I think my Facebook page, I have like 4 or 5 people, and then just on Monday, the website went live on the Western PA Conservancy, so she said she was gonna keep me updated on that. I think we're hoping for like 30. And I know that this last time when we did our tree pruning, we had the largest turnout yet that we've had. So I'm kind of hoping for that, and I'm hoping if I advertise that, we're giving away good food this time, that maybe more people will be likely to show up. And I'm gonna ask Mechanic if they can like donate coffee and stuff too. It's a nice way to get these places like involved. And I've asked some of the businesses if they could send some employees maybe to help and things like that. So I think it's like a good way to get everybody involved.
So anyone who is on Facebook or doing things like that, or the rec board or the borough or the chamber can share your ad for signing up.
Yes.
And you'll have a link in that for people to go to sign up.
Yes, yeah. The link is hosted on the Western PA Conservancy's page, because they do it all like through the Tree Vitalize program. So I can give everybody the link, and you guys can share the link however you
Can you email it to
like.
me?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
I know the first time there was like a big deal about taking classes and knowing how to plant trees and yada, yada, yada.
You don't have to be a tree tender to plant. They will be, sorry, they will have enough people there from the Western PA Conservancy and Tree Vitalize and Tree Pittsburgh who oversee the whole thing, and they tell people what to do.
Okay.
Oh, but that does remind me, I did have another kind of a question that I forgot to write down. They let me know that, so this is planting in the dormant season, so these trees are not going to need to be watered for a while, which is good. They're going to overwinter here. And then I think we talked about this before, they provide us with basically long-term watering devices that will be put up over the trees like over the summer, so that the grounds people can just go through and then they automatically water.
The street department will have to fill them, they're watering bags.
Yeah, they'll fill them, but it's like a once a week or something like that, or maybe not even. But where should we keep those? I think they're going to either be, I guess, gator bags or like special buckets. Well, she said they might not be giving out the gator bags this year, they might be like special buckets instead. Do we have space to store those here? Like, because they'll drop them off.
They should be able to fit them in the far garage.
Okay, great.
I'll talk to AJ about it.
Yeah.
Do you know when they're coming?
They'd be dropping them off on that Saturday, probably.
same day?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
so, they'll be bringing like everything all at once. So Saturday's gonna be a little bit of a flurry of activity. There's gonna be mulch, there's gonna be buckets, just FYI, guys. The mulch will all be gone, but there'll be a pile for a few hours till it gets.
Do you have a place to put the mulch?
Well, it's just gonna be around, like in the park, while we're planting around the trees. So, it'll just get put there. So yeah, is there gonna be somebody available for me to like give the buckets to on Saturday? Or would you like to volunteer? And then I can give them to you?
I'll talk to AJ and see if he can come in, or get one of the guys to come in to get the buckets
Okay, cool.
in there, and then you can work out of the garage. We'll have to make arrangements so you can get in and out of the garage.
Great.
Because you're all the way down to Riverbank Park.
Yeah, it'll be here, Railroad and Riverbank. So it'll be both. I think we're probably going to have the main hub right here, so that's good, because it'll be right here. But it's nice that they're providing us all this equipment for free, and the mulch is all free. They're just coming in with truckloads and just dumping it in the
digging the
trees and
holes for
everything,
free.
and digging the holes for free, and it's a really great program.
How many people are you thinking for lunch?
We're hoping to get 30 volunteers, so, it would be great if we could get 30, because that would do it real easy. Like, we could get all those trees in the ground fast if we did that.
I'd like to make a motion that we donate all or a portion of the lunch.
Thank
You
you.
want to put a cap on it, or
Well, that's why I was asking how many.
even,
Yeah, I think it would be a portion, because the barbecue company's already agreed to donate some food. I'm not sure how much.
And then you
but-
might get some stuff from Mechanic and from
Do we want to
Yeah,
put
Giant Eagle
a
for, like, donuts or
limit on it?
something.
How much you thinking, Jerry?
I don't know, I mean,
Well, the litter with the pit students, what did
do like
Luke ask for,
250
250? So 250.
Yeah, that should be plenty for me to get everything. But I'll still solicit donations so as to minimize the impact
Right.
on the Verona Borough as much as possible.
I'll make a motion that we donate $250 towards lunch.
I'll second.
Motion on the floor made by Mr. Suchovich, seconded by Dr. Carpenter for $250 donation to the tree planting on November the 2nd. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed.
Thanks,
send me an
guys.
email and we'll kind of orchestrate how to accomplish that.
Okay, can do. Yeah, and I'll send you if I send you the link to the sign-up page, would you be able to distribute it to all the members of council then?
I'll send it to everybody on council and I'll post it on social media.
Thank you, that'd be great. Cool. I think that's everything for the tree planting. We're pretty well squared away, I think. Very excited, should be nice. Yet again, this is like, it's a good big one, so hooray. This is, aside from the tree planting, this is me bringing something to people's attention that is happening on North Avenue. I know that there's been some question, and this is just maybe something for you guys to think about like apartment buildings being owned by people that aren't, local, and they're just getting bought up by whoever. There's a single-family home that's being rented out 2 doors up from me that just got bought by one of those we pay cash for any home places. And apparently the occupants of that house were told previously that it was against code or something like that for it to be made into anything but a single-family home. But this, apartment flipping company wants to put like 3 apartments in there now. They're already looking at, putting fire escapes up and this and that. I don't know if anybody has had a conversation with them, but I know,
Mark's aware of that.
yeah.
They'll have to get our permits and that from occupancy and everything,
Mark will let
Mr.
that
Stanton.
Yeah, because it's, and again, like, I'm only doing this just to be nice, because I have a driveway. I'm like one of 2 people on my street that have one, so I stay out of the North Avenue parking wars. But if they put 3 apartments in there, it's, gonna make things even so much
Yeah,
worse.
I was notified by someone on North Avenue about that, and
Yeah.
I turned it over to Mark.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, cool. Thank you. Just
Thanks a lot.
FYI, because it's definitely one of those places that they just don't care.
Right.
One of the places that we really didn't want to be
We're trying to
purchasing.
get away from that, and
I
I
know.
appreciate you keeping us informed.
Yeah.
Thank
so
you.
Just FYI. Okay, thanks, guys. I'm gonna go bathe my baby now.
Have fun.
Thanks. And thanks for the money. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, council will now hear comments on agenda items at this time. Please approach the podium, clearly state your name and address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Okay. Moving right along here. Mr. Kenna.
The meeting minutes from the last meetings have been distributed by email from Marcia, so we would need a motion to approve the meeting minutes. And that's just
The September
workshop.
business and workshop? Okay.
Yes.
I make a motion to pass the meeting minutes for September business meeting and workshop. Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
The check detail list and bills payable list has been distributed to everybody. both by email last week as well as hard copies in front of you. We would need a motion to pay all bills.
Can I have a motion to pay the bills?
Make a motion to pay the bill.
I will second. Are there any questions?
I have one, too. Jerry, on here, there's contracted dumpster service.
Yep.
One for August 4th and one for September 4th. One's 587, one's 254. Is that these two dumpsters up here?
And there's one down by the salt dump.
Okay. Just wondering why the 1 month it was double.
They may have had to pick the Public Works one up multiple times.
Okay. And on one of the page 6, Jerry, there's Milt's Green Lawn.
Yeah, that's the guy that does the fertilizing and the aerating and everything for the fields.
I didn't know if that was something to do with the fixing of the playground.
No, that's just, he's been fertilizing and trying to get the grass to come back up at the cribs, and he's doing these parks down here too.
Very good, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Motion on the floor to pay the bills by Mr. Conti and seconded by myself. Any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Tax collector special tax report. In the month of September 2019, we received $5,372.80 for real estate taxes for the current year, $10,479.64 in delinquent real estate tax, $484.61 in real estate transfer tax, $29,915.76 in earned income taxes, and $1,029.04 in local service tax.
Can I have a motion to accept the tax collector special taxes report?
I'll make a motion to accept tax collector special tax report.
Motion by Mr. Conti, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. McCarthy. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed.
For the treasurer's report, we began the month of September with $552,058.38 in the general fund. We received deposits of $70,423.77. We spent $109,877.55 for an ending balance of $512,604.60.
Can I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
I'll make a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Motion by Mr.
Second.
McCarthy, second by Mr. Conti. Are there any questions?
Yeah, one quick question. Jerry, the 136 in the sanitary sewer account, that's your quarterly payment?
Correct.
For, what, the third quarter?
That's opposite, yeah.
Okay.
They don't go by the same quarters, but it's 4 times a year. Yeah, it's a quarterly payment for the sewage.
So the $206,227,
Yep.
we're actually, that is what we actually have in that account.
Yeah, now, yes, pretty much.
So again, as I was wondering before when we talked about Second Street, there's a possibility if we decide we could take a little out of that maybe and
might be able to do
replace it
that.
back later or something, because it's pretty healthy.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, motion on the floor to accept the treasurer's report by Mr. McCarthy and second by Mr. Conti. Are there any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. Police Chief's report.
Evening.
Good evening.
We received 106 complaints, 23 primary crimes reported, 19 declared. There was 7 arrests, 5 code summaries issued, 6 vehicle code summaries issued, 13 borough code summaries issued, and 103 parking tickets issued. Revenue sources, the magistrate's fines collected was $1,334.99. Gross fines and fees collected was $550 and $90 in police reports purchased. Municipal fines was $94.41 for total fines and fees was $2,069.40, and then another $425 in parking permit fees. That's all I have for tonight.
Thank you. Thanks, Chief.
Have a motion to accept the police chief's report.
I'll make a motion to accept the police chief's report.
Motion by Mr. McCarthy, second by Mrs. Provenza. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. Chief, this is for Officer Bill when he returns. Okay, just a little
By the way,
sunshine
I
basket.
did hear from him the other day, and he's been released to come back to work on the 26th, will be his first day out.
Okay,
Good deal.
good.
Beautiful.
So,
He's eager to come back.
easy to come back, huh?
Eager.
Eager to come back. Hope that provides a little
Those
something.
never make it to him.
Oh, sure it will. Janet knows what she put in.
I was late in coming in. Can I put something in there?
Sure. That'll never make it to him either.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. I appreciate
His is coming.
Bill, appreciate it.
Yeah. Yes, he is. Okay, Fire Chief's report.
We had 8 fire calls for the month of September. As everybody knows, this isn't really a fire report, but there is a bonfire here tomorrow night. I think we're lighting it at 7 o'clock. The kids will, the band and the football players will march down from Verona to be here to light it at 7. So I'm sure the chief has his policemen out and will be out.
Do you still have pallets?
I had talked to AJ last week. Everybody was taking them for hunting. There is some up there, and I had told him that the sign place up there, Caveman Sign, has a bunch of wood up there that says free wood. Did they go up and get anything yet?
I was just talking to Ray before the meeting. I haven't heard anything about the bonfire. I just heard somebody talking about it today, and then I heard Ray. Usually I get a phone call from the lady from the school.
I had so many.
It's Kavortek.
Yeah.
We had so many pallets up there. Everybody started taking them for,
What do they do for hunting?
huh?
What are they using them for?
They're camps. They're fires.
Oh, burn.
The pallets, yeah.
Guess I gotta get a move on it.
Do you have like, what are they using them for? I don't know.
Well, I had
I apologize if I dropped the ball, and I didn't know I had to notify everybody, I know.
She usually calls me.
Yeah.
I didn't get a phone call from her.
I was wondering if anybody knew about it, because the only way I knew about it was because Gus saw the flyer that went home with all the kids.
Anybody object to me having the borough guys help me out getting pallets?
No,
I don't know.
that might be their responsibility tomorrow.
They might have to.
Down daily, see if Dailies can give you
Yeah,
some.
absolutely.
There's a place on Plum Street, I can go and get 5,000 of them. I just need the time to get them.
Yeah.
He lets me go anytime I need them. I go down there, he's got
Have them
tons.
guys go get them.
Yeah, excuse them from their street cleaning, because I think it's my side of the street. Yeah, it's my side of the street. Okay, can I have a motion to accept the fire chief's report?
I'll make a motion to accept fire chief's report.
Motion by Mr. Conti, I'll second. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. EMS report.
Good evening.
Hi.
Jamie.
Was that?
No, I said, hey, Jerry, I mean Jamie.
For a month of Verona, or, we don't, for a
Month of September, month of Verona in September, huh?
Yeah, I always get confused every month. We had a total of 39 responses into Verona Borough, 17 of which were advanced life support, 10 were basic life support, 2 patient refusals, 4 lift assist, 5 cancellations, and 1 deceased on arrival. And that's about it.
That one that we were just talking about, what is that considered on this?
That'd be advanced.
Advanced?
Life support. Yeah, she fell 20 plus feet, so that would be a high mechanism.
Is that the one down on Arch?
Yeah.
Everything going okay? I mean, no problems?
No problems.
Good. Yeah, I commend you guys for what you
We
did
appreciate
down
your help
there.
that night. It was,
That was an eye-opener for me, just seeing how you guys all worked together and took care of her. She was extremely happy with what you did for her.
good, thank you.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thanks, Jamie.
Can I have a motion to accept the EMS report?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Nancy, is there a second? Second by Dom. Any questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed.
I just have a couple more things. In front of everybody is a new contract for Oakmont Water Authority to do the billing for the sewage. It's a 3-year contract, it's just a renewal. Their fee, I believe, is the same.
Which is what?
54 cents per coupon fee and 2% of the amount billed. And then they charge 5% on unpaid amounts, like delinquent, unpaid. So,
Is it the same?
yeah.
Okay.
So, we would need to act on this. I believe they want to hear it back by November 15th. So we have until we can actually make the decision next meeting, or next business meeting. So I wanted to give this to everybody today so that they can kind of review it and we can make the decision next meeting.
There's no changes?
No, that I can find.
Decision October,
November.
November?
Yeah, we can make the decision. We have to I have to get them a signed contract by November 15th, so we can make the decision November 12th, as late as November 12th. Maybe a workshop if everybody's ready to make the decision.
We'll review, we'll do a workshop.
I think they do a pretty good job of collecting. I mean, they drop the ball on other things, but as we all know about the big holes everywhere. But they do a pretty good job collecting the sewage, so I wouldn't think we need to get rid of them, but take a look at it. The other thing is, one of the buildings on our demolition list that we meet about every month, we've already done the hearing, we've already approved it for demolition, we've just been waiting for the funds. There's a handful, I think there's 5 or 6 buildings on that list. The 2 up on 4th Street are number 1 and number 2, but we're waiting for the county to get back with the asbestos survey so that we can get the grant money to do that. In the meantime, I would like council to make a motion to move forward with the demolition of 515 East Railroad. We're having a major tree and shrub and weed problem on the lot. Instead of having a tree service guy come out and clear the lot to then, hopefully, within the next couple months, tear the property, the building down, I think as a cost savings measure, it would be easier for us to just have the demolition done and have them clear the lot all at the same time. That way, we don't have to pay twice for the same property.
You say we have the money for this?
Yeah, Matt's estimating we're probably 10 to 15, depending on how bad the asbestos is in the building. We have the money to cover that.
I'll make a motion that we move forward with the demolition of, is it 151?
515
East Railroad.
515 East Railroad Avenue.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Conti, second by Mr. Suchovich for the demolition of 515 East Railroad Avenue. Are there any questions?
Yeah, I have in my notes, when you're saying demo it, you mean to put it out for getting bids?
Yeah, so we're gonna start the process of putting it out for bid and actually acting and demoing the property.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes.
Because we've already agreed to demo it, we've already had the hearing and done all that. This is just so that we can move forward with the advertisement, accepting the bid, and removing the property.
Great, thank you.
And then we will lien the property, just to clarify, we'll lien the property for the cost to be collected, hopefully, if the property were to ever sell.
Okay.
Okay, motion on the floor by Mr. Conti, second by Mr. Suchovich for the demolition of 515 East Railroad. Are there any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you. I think that's it for right now, but I may end up interrupting later and coming up with something else.
It's okay. You're allowed.
Thanks.
Okay. Mayor.
Yeah, real quickly, I was gonna have Mrs. Aurelius here tonight, but she's in the hospital. She retired after 22 years, crossed a lot of children up at 2nd and South and 2nd and Center. And actually, she was down here on the boulevard in her earlier years. I do have a, I guess you call it a proclamation, and the board agreed to get her a little gift certificate. I'm gonna probably give it to her, but if she would want to come here for the next meeting, she's more than welcome to get here. I just wanted to let the public know that She is retired, and she served 22 years with the borough, and we thank her for that. And like I said, she is in the hospital right now, so she couldn't be here. The other thing is civil service. I talked to Mrs. Sheridan, and I gave her some information on moving forward on hiring and testing, I should say testing, of 2 police officers. In last month's regular meeting, I brought up about garbage cans from Get-Go on the steps over by Selden Avenue. I did call last week, and I'm on their schedule to be called back. It's in the computer, so this is the second call. They assured me that they do things like that, but I haven't heard from them yet, so I may make a third call this week. The last thing I have is we need to get these parking lots painted, the lines on there. There's money in the account for those.
Yeah, there is.
We have 1, 2, 3 lots, including this one right here.
Yeah.
Because the weather's coming in now, and
So I talked to an asphalt guy in the spring, and he looked at it, and he's smaller, he's a driveway guy. But his fear, he said that he was not big enough to do it. He felt like the asphalt wasn't, it was in bad enough condition that just sealing it isn't gonna be good enough, that we may end up having to do some actual repair work and maybe even dig it up and, I guess, mill it down and put another layer on it. I don't know, that's not my...
yeah, we haven't sealed them for a while. We used to do them every year.
He said with all those cracks and stuff, if we just seal it, they're gonna come back in no time. So I don't know any really, but that's what he seemed to tell me.
Well, I can have them put lines on them for now, if you want them on before the end of the year, and then we'll have to look into somebody. The lots are cracked up pretty bad. We'll have to have, I don't know how thick that asphalt is, if it warrants being milled or not. It might be too thin to mill, it might have to be torn up and redone.
Well, those they haven't been done since '95 when we bought this building. That's how long.
Sealing it?
No, I mean, that's when they, yeah, they've never been, in what, 25 years or so, they've never been repaired other than sealing them.
Just that one, this one? That one, this one, and one on the end. Okay.
Mainly, if you're not gonna do anything at this time, but mainly this one over here should have lines on it, because when Inner Roof gets very busy, cars are everywhere.
Yeah.
They're blocking each other in.
Are we doing white lines or yellow?
The white shows up better at night. If anything, like I said, this parking lot over here.
I don't think it'll be an issue with them, but well, I was gonna talk about it, but they're starting to get geared up for the leaves, working on our 1945 leaf vac, trying to get that.
It's not a 45, it's a 47.
But I think I can get them to be able, at least to get that one.
Right.
I'll talk to them about at least getting that one done, if they can get some more to do it. And then we're gonna have to, well, someone's gonna have to look into paving these things, because they are bad. That one you might get away with sealing. Over here, you're not going to.
How about if we have Matt look at them and see what we can get done, or,
Yeah, that's fine.
you know?
Matt, take them, we'll go.
Matt, take a look.
Fix that
In your
for us.
spare time, okay?
That's all I have at this time.
Thank
In
you.
regards to that parking lot up there, I don't know if anybody said it, but I love the lights that are in there, that parking lot.
Oh, yeah.
You ride by there at night,
They're a lot brighter.
it's nice. They're nice.
It's like daylight.
I just have a few things. I got a phone call over the weekend regarding the parking situation on North Avenue. I guess there are some residents who are putting up chairs, cones, weed whackers, to reserve their parking
Like the
places.
south side of the city.
Okay, and basically, this is what this individual said to me, you know, are we turning into the city of Pittsburgh, or what's going on? So I had called the chief about it, and he said that he was gonna have Sergeant Francos go up there and tell them they can't do stuff like that. So The individual doesn't live on North Avenue, but her daughter does, and she was really irritated. Evidently, this has been going on for quite some time. So I don't know. I had suggested that she call you, David, because you're the mayor with the police and everything, and I don't know if you got a phone call from her or anything.
I mean, we're aware of the problem.
Okay.
We all are aware of the problem.
Unfortunately,
up there.
street parking is public.
Yeah.
Well, you can't,
I mean, I
the bottom line is what the chief says, you can't put these things out on the street.
Right.
So,
I
you
will
know.
look into that to make sure that the officer did go up there and talk
Yeah.
to these people and put the stuff in
Right.
on the street.
I know a trailer that they can put out in front of the place to reserve the parking place.
Probably looks better up there.
It looks aluminum.
It's a tin can, okay, with cat eyes or bad eyes in it now. The only other thing that I wanted to know, Mrs. Provenza, has any movement been made on the policy for the digital billboard? Because I think at the last meeting, we had a request for.
I do have that information.
Okay.
And I don't have it on my report, but I have it. I got to get it to council.
Okay, I'll wait for you then to say something. The only other thing I want to remind council, I've been reminding you for the past couple times that Mr. Truby puts on this presentation for the veterans on November the 6th. He's looking for gift cards. If you could please get a gift card, bring it to council at the October 29th workshop. Make sure you put your name on the back of it where it says from. Just put councilperson, Loalbo, McCarthy, whoever. If you want to place it in a thank you card, he's looking for gifts that he can raffle off and give to the veterans that are there that day.
What date do you want them?
I want him by the workshop.
29th?
The 29th, yes, because I told him I would get it to him then before the 6th.
Okay.
That gives me time then. And I think that's just about everything, because I wanted to ask you if you all knew about the bonfire tomorrow night. I don't even know if it's down here or if it's up at Cribs.
It's down here.
It is down here. And I don't know if you saw on the news, but Governor Wolf was in the Riverview School District for their STEAM program, so.
Hey, Dom, in regards to the bonfire, there is a splotch of grass up there that's like brown. You don't want that, tell them not to put it too close to that pavilion, you know.
Well, it's supposed to rain. I was gonna have them put it
Tomorrow?
inside the pavilion so they don't get wet.
No, it's not
Didn't
gonna
that happen a
rain.
couple years ago? We got a little too close to that pavilion?
Oh, we kept it
Our firemen
contained.
were there.
We kept water on it.
This is on the far side of the pavilion.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what we did the last time.
Yeah. You can see the brown splotch where it always goes.
Mr. Pitch?
So the signal at Wildwood and ARB, it's up and running. With that, I've been working with the mayor and the police chief. We've put a request in the PennDOT. The begin 25 miles per hour is only about 100 feet before the signal. And now that people see a green light instead of a stop sign, they're tending not to slow down at all entering town. So we've requested the PennDOT to move the sign about 700 feet back to near the Maids building, right where the hillside starts to go back away from the road again. I haven't heard anything back from PennDOT yet, but our hope is moving the sign back there might entice people to start slowing down sooner. Plus that will give the chief enough area to properly paint lines and enforce if we have to.
I think we have to, honestly, at least for a little while.
Yeah, so as it is now, I know he went out and measured and painted lines. I believe the stop bar for the intersection is the second line. That's how close the sign is to the intersection, so that doesn't do much good or provide him anywhere to sit off the road either. So as soon as we know something back on that, I'll pass that along. The CDBG 2019, the year 45s, the sanitary project and the Center Avenue Road reconstruction, those were awarded already. Unfortunately, HUD has been dragging their feet releasing the money, which they just did a week or two ago. So those contracts are going out. With the road reconstruction based on the time of the year, that one's probably gonna wait till spring just because of temperatures and asphalt being involved. I've talked to the contractor for the sanitary lining. They're ready to go as soon as they can execute contracts, so that might be moving in here in the next few weeks. And as Jerry said, the demos, we're waiting on those because the county is doing a countywide asbestos survey, so we have to wait on that.
And I think there's a hold on that survey from the last COG meeting. I didn't bring my COG notes with me.
They couldn't award the contract to do the surveys until HUD released the money.
Yeah.
So HUD released it, I think, a week or two ago, so the surveys still aren't complete. And
Okay.
we can't even bid the work until the surveys are complete, so that we're probably looking at a spring timeframe for that. If everyone didn't hear, we were awarded the Greenways, Trails, and Recreation Grant for Cribbs Field. It was slightly lower. We had asked for $222,000. They awarded us $200,000. So we will still make sure we get the pavilion. We might cut back on some of the other items in the original scope, but we will still get pretty much everything we wanted. We're executing agreements with that, so that work will probably begin in spring as well.
Hey, Matt.
Yes.
Can council have input on how that building would be built? A lot of the residents.
You mean where it's going to be located at?
No, not so much that. The residents on Athletic they're all asking that it be opened just out towards the field, not like open all the way around for noise. I don't know if that can be done or not.
So what we were looking at is, it's a company called RCP Structures. They're a prefabricated pavilion that basically comes on site kind of like a modular home would. And you have to do some site prep for it. So half, or slightly under half of it would be closed in because there'd be new bathrooms, a storage area, and a concession stand. And then the pavilion part would be three-sided open air. What we could look at is getting some nice canvas shades or something to put there, or maybe some type of privacy fence to try to block it off.
It's mainly along the fence. That's basically, I know you have to have it open or else there's no point of it, but if you can keep along the fence closed off, if the building warrants that.
Yeah, we can look into something like that.
Okay.
And then, the year 2020 CDBG, we had applied for a comprehensive CCTV condition rating of the borough storm source to try to get ahead of any potential problems. Unfortunately, that one was not selected as an approved project. I was still gonna work with Jerry, and we might have to split it into phases, but possibly look at doing some of it in-house, or not so much in-house, but just having it done ourselves. They did tell me that they liked the idea of it, but it didn't quite qualify because they're more focused on the construction aspect. But without having any of that prior information, we've really had nothing to put to construction. So if we even videos 20% or something like that for next year, we could be ready to apply for another project, but I'll work with Jerry on that. We did throw in basically the exact same grant from DCED for the pavilion project. They approved it to move on to the next round of application. However, they did not approve a pavilion. So talking to Mr. Benecki, we don't need the pavilion, so I'm gonna change the scope of work on that. So the 22,000 that we were short on the other grant, we might be able to pull some of the sidewalk work or benches or things like that out of that grant and put that into the CDBG grant and still get everything we wanted. So I'll work on that. And then the sanitary sewer lining that was approved to go onto the full apps. The storm sewer repairs, Selden Avenue began. The work is about 50% complete down there. Contractor had a few days off there with the rain, but they're doing a good job making sure they keep the pipe open. I don't know if anyone's been by there, but the pipe they're pulling out is in pretty bad shape.
Yeah, I've seen that. There's nothing left.
There's sections of it where there's only about half the pipe left. It's so corroded, so it's unfortunate everything happened at the same time, but it's a good thing we're getting to it now before it caused a way worse problem. And then the Second Street, I have that out to contractors. There's 12 contractors currently holding the plans for it. They are gonna be getting me quotes at the end of next week. I will review those and have them ready, prepared for the workshop meeting so we can move forward with awarding.
Will you be at our workshop meeting?
I will attend it.
Okay.
I will have my daughter though, so I'll do my little bit and I'll be out of here. I know there was some questions on scope, of exact scope and pricing and everything. So I did put together a more detailed cost estimate. So I have it using PennDOT prices estimated at $160,000. Because I know we had tossed out general numbers between 150 and 200, so I feel pretty confident that it's going to come in right around that range of 160. And then, as Jerry said, we'll move forward with the 515 East Railroad. We will have to get an asbestos survey ourselves done on that. I have not been in it looking at the outside. I don't anticipate a lot of asbestos, so we may not have to do any removal, but depending on what interior finishes are, that could drive the price up a little bit on that, but being a single family home, it shouldn't be too bad.
Okay.
And one more thing, I'm sorry. I had talked to the mayor, there was a few items that are on center there, up by Athletic. I did meet with the water authority. They tested that. It is not valves leaking. It's groundwater or spring. Jerry and I were talking about a fix, a more permanent fix, but I also have a temporary fix to at least keep the water in the gutter line for winter time here. And we also did get a camera in the sanitary line to look at where those dips in the road are. There was no significant damage to the sanitary line. It doesn't mean that over years the fine particles have been washed away. AJ is aware of it and is going to keep an eye on it. If it gets worse, we may cut out a section, get some larger rock in there so it stops moving and fix it as needed.
That road's been down a while. Center Avenue, yeah.
Yeah, and it's gotten a little bit worse, so he did put some patch in it, but if it gets any more of a dip there, then we'll look at removing a section and getting it repaired.
What about First Street? Where it caved in over by the alley between Spruce and the alley?
Where that dip is there?
Well, I mean, it literally was a hole that they filled it.
Okay, I'll talk to AJ about that. I saw the dip, I didn't see where it was caved in at.
Yeah, they must have been called out last Saturday or Sunday to put cones there.
Okay.
There was a hole there. And once again, thank goodness we didn't pave that road, you know?
I have a couple questions on that here.
And that was First and which alley?
I don't know, I can't remember the name.
Right before.
By Spruce Street.
Right before
No,
Spruce.
yeah.
You can't miss it. There's cones there.
Well, I don't even know if the cones are there. I know
It's right
Did
above
they pave it?
It's right
Okay.
above Union.
I did see a patch there.
Yeah, right above
and the
Union.
brick was dipped pretty good.
Yeah, there's blacktop on it.
There's heavy fire trucks.
I have a couple questions. Yeah, that's the problem. We're talking about First Street. Did we, or are we planning on getting a hold of the water company and gas company before we pave that road to see if they're gonna be doing any work over there?
Water company the water line is replaced on that road.
Okay?
Yeah, I had already reached out to them, letting them know we had a larger project like that, and I also reached out to them about Second Street, because next spring that's
Right,
getting paved too.
right.
They did not have any plans, or the lines had already been replaced.
What about the gas company?
I did not hear back from them
Oh, you
yet.
called them?
But I did submit, there's a woman, I can't remember her name, but she usually reaches out each year asking what our plans are in the spring, so I made sure I let her know what our plans were.
Just put a little tip in their ear, remember Spruce Street.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
They never got back to us, we
And that's what
paved
we're
it,
trying
and we
to
dug the whole
avoid.
thing
That's why
up.
I'm asking.
Yeah.
And I have one other thing for you, Matt. On the boulevard where that new light is there any way we can put a white line or some type of line where the left lane turns and the right lane can go straight? Because if that backs up there, it's been backed up to Center Avenue. I mean, I know it's not legal and it's a state road, but if we could put some type of white line, that might get people to, because I know myself, I've gone down there, and people just sit right in the middle making the left to go up there. Are we allowed to do anything like that?
So I have to ask PennDOT, because we'd revise the drawings. There is enough space. They require a minimum of a 10-foot lane. So we would have to move the yellow line over by it was either 1.5 feet or 2 feet, something like that. So as you're heading north now, the lane already jogs to the right. It would have a 1.5 to 2 foot more of a jog to the right like that. So it's not impossible, but I would have to run it.
I just think that traffic is so bad sometimes down there that, it might be worth looking into.
What about the parking at the post office and Cinch Graphics though? I mean, I don't disagree with you, but then that would interfere with their parking there too, especially the post office.
Yeah, and I was gonna, it's my fault, I forgot to talk to AJ. We were gonna paint the first couple feet of that curb yellow anyways, so people wouldn't park any further than the post office. And it's, we can paint the yellow curb for a certain point, and then depending on how many cars are turning, regardless of how long the yellow is, you can always get yourself into that situation. So I'll talk with AJ. We'll definitely get part of it painted yellow. That way no one's parked too close to the light.
Okay.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
And my question, Matt, is regarding Second Street and this big project they're about to do. So we're in the bidding process right now, right? They have the specs and they're bidding? Is that what's happening now?
Essentially, it's not going through the formal advertisement because we deemed it the emergency. So it's more of a quote, but it's same thing.
And in your specs, do you have a time limit as to when they're gonna try to get that done by?
So when I gave it to all the contractors, I told them that this was something that we were wanting to get done this year. I also put on there that when they give us their quote, they're supposed to give us an estimated time frame to begin work.
Okay.
That way,
so that's what we'll be considering on the 29th.
And I made that well aware to the contractors that depending on, obviously, if we're talking tens of thousands of dollars difference in a few weeks, it kind of makes sense to wait. I mean, obviously, we want to get it done as quick as possible, but we have to look at the money factor as well. But from several of the contractors that have already talked to me, at least 2 of them seem as if they could be on it pretty much right away.
And when it gets cold, they can still work?
Yeah, this type of work can be done even if it was snowing. The one change is because we're paving the road in the spring, I put in temporary asphalt, which I had spec'd out 19 millimeter binder course. I also let them know that depending on temperatures and asphalt plants being open, we would accept a cold patch product, which would be available year-round regardless of temperatures.
That would be a little cheaper too.
Well, actually, the cold patch nowadays is more expensive.
Really?
But that's kind of on them. If they wait too long and it's December and they have to buy cold patch instead of binder, we're not paying them any different.
And what is going to be are they going to have to close the road when they're working on this? How, what's that going to be?
So
is there any inconvenience to the residents?
at the upper end of the project, the storm line crosses the entire road. It goes from the uphill side to the downhill side of the road. So there is going to probably be 2-3 days where there is closures while they get that section of the work done. Once it crosses the road, it's in the gutter line of the road. So I've had a couple contractors ask me if we want flagging or not. I told them the road is wide enough the way it is that if they position themselves, 2 lanes of traffic can still get by them with the work zone channelized. If they wanted to, and that slows work down a little bit, so if they wanted to rip and tear and have half the road to themselves, then they would have to put flagging in. but I did not, that would be in their numbers, so if they decide to do it that way and they're not the lowest bidder, that, I did not require the flagging though. And then I did spec a PennDOT, road, temporary encroachment for when they're down by Wildwood doing, a couple tie-ins there, that it will remain 2 lanes of traffic open. And I know that can be done because working with AJ, there was enough room that we can park the Borough truck and two lanes of traffic and still get past us, so.
Now, real quickly, I know that this question's been asked, but is Penn Hill's going to contribute to any of this? Their water does flow into both the sanitary and storm.
Yeah, so the sanitary, I know we do have an agreement that they pay us each year for. As far as stormwater, that's not a.
Same way with over in Selton.
Yeah, that's not a typical agreement, but we can work on, I don't know, have you ever been involved in any agreements like that, Craig?
Like what, Matt?
For stormwater agreements?
I've been involved with a number of different agreements. I mean, I was involved with the original, not the original agreement with Penn Hills, but the most recent extension.
That's sanitary.
Yeah, that's sanitary. But
yeah, I'm not familiar with intermunicipal agreements for stormwater though, for like charging communities for conveying stormwater.
I'm not aware. I'll look and see if we do any of that.
Okay, I'll talk with you and we can have more information. And then the only other thing I wanted to bring up is, with the project, 24-inch pipe takes up a rather large space. They're gonna have to have stone piles. I know the house says 540. It's your brother's neighbor. I don't know if it's Peter Street or Second Street. I'm gonna reach out to him to see if he would be able to allow us to use his yard as a staging area. If not, I briefly mentioned it with Jerry. The Cribbs Field next to the basketball courts does have a double gate there. That could be a possible second location if that property owner wasn't allowing
What
us.
about right up on top of Church Street and Third? That vacant lot up there. I understand. No, I'm being honest with you. Somebody owns it. I know that, but they're not doing nothing to it. So what are they gonna do? Come after us because we're using their property? They don't cut the grass, they don't do the weeds, they don't do the
There's cars parking there,
trees?
David. Are you aware of that?
What's that?
There are 2 cars that park there on a daily basis.
Is that enough room for those trucks to get up and back to get the equipment?
I don't-
Third Street's kind of tight there, and Third Street's one way.
I mean, they could probably just, for all the shorter it is to get to Wood Street, they could go the wrong direction while they're dumping or whatnot. I don't know if they'd have to clear and grub some of it though to even make enough space.
There'd be some work up there. If the lot was cleared out, it could be used. As it is right now, you couldn't use it.
What about the Nicasio property? Talk to them.
Yeah, bottom of Shannon Road.
Right there back in where Bill Grill Exterminating is, that big
Yeah.
parking lot there at the bottom of
Right in the
Shannon.
back.
I was thinking of talking to him.
The old Nicasio property, I don't know who owns it now.
Yeah, it just sold recently. I did talk to the gentleman the other day, and he seems like he would maybe be willing, but he does use some of that property for storage and has some things parked back there, so I don't know what his access in and out. So hopefully the owner.
There's also them properties right on Indian Creek, right up on Shannon.
Yeah, the guy's name is Matthew Messina.
Yeah.
So hopefully when I talk to him, he doesn't have a problem with it. Even if he wants a little bit of compensation, we can probably work something out with him. Ideally, that would be the best place because it's right next to the project.
Have Lotus, cross Wildwood.
You know, I looked that up. I don't believe it's Ave Lotus anymore.
Oh, really?
It's an LLC that holds it now. HK Holdings or something like that.
Well, you know what? They still cut the grass there, so they must have done it.
Same thing, probably Prasad.
Prasad, yeah. But that, I thought of that too, because it's nice and close. I even thought of the owners of the Pickle Factory in that little triangle lot there, but with all their new paving and everything there, they might not want that. Maybe just the pipe, but not piles of stone.
Right.
So, but we'll work something out, so. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Sorry it took so long.
Nancy?
Just tell me to shut up.
What about
Oh, I'm sorry. Craig?
Thank you. Madam
Okay,
President.
I have you in my notes, and
The first item is that immediately preceding this evening's council meeting, we had an executive session to discuss various legal, personnel, and real estate issues. One of those issues that we were discussing was I was given direction to prepare an extension to the contract of Chief McLemore. I believe that will be up for consideration at a later date, later in this meeting, I'm sorry. With regard to the Rivertown Inn, Mark has issued a condemnation notice on that. A few months ago, there was no appeal to that condemnation notice, and Mark has made a recommendation that that building be demolished based on the code violations that are ongoing in that building. I believe that, I support that recommendation, and I believe that Mayor and Council support that recommendation as well. And a motion would be in order if Council so desirous to, for me to advertise for a demolition hearing and take any necessary steps to follow through on a demolition of 500 Jones Street.
I'll make a motion for to take all appropriate steps to demo 500 Jones Street.
I'll second.
Motion by myself, second by Mr. Conti. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed.
Attended the Code and Ordinance Committee meeting on the last weekend, last Monday of the month this month. I know Dr. Carpenter will have some stuff to talk about in that, and we have had a lot of code enforcement issues that I've been dealing with Mark with throughout the month. This was a heavy month for Mark and code enforcement, and I have the tree ordinance on my list of items to discuss, but we've already done that.
Okay.
So that is all I have to talk about.
And you're going to get the policy to
And I'll get that back to you on the digital advertisement.
digital billboard. Thank you. Nancy?
And what about Mr. Conti?
You forgot Don.
Okay. Moving right along.
That's all.
Just want to hear
All I was going to talk about was the leaf fact. They're probably going to have to dump a little bit of money into that again, just to keep it going. But that's all we got for now. We have to figure out a way to get a new one in the budget.
How much are we talking for a new one or a used one that's not built in the 40s?
AJ has looked at them. If you ask AJ, he could probably give you ideas. I left it up to him because they're the ones who use it. They're looking at what they need. There's so many different kinds. You can get them with big hoses on the side and jets and all kind of stuff. I don't know that we need all that. Yeah. The hose is nice. You have to have that. And then the actual sweeper itself behind it. But if you talk, you'll have to talk to AJ. To be honest, I couldn't even tell you a price.
Okay.
Are they thinking about starting, if the thing is repaired, starting leaf collection on the 4th, on the beginning of November?
I'm not 100% sure that you're probably right. I think that's when they normally start. I think they usually try going by when the leaves, how the weather is when the leaves fall. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of up in the air.
It's still within the capacity of the street sweeper, so.
Is there a chance that they might not be able to fix the leak?
No, they always get it fixed. Thank God, Giant Eagle leaves are shopping carts all over the place. It's holding it together right now.
Well, I don't think Giant Eagle leaves them.
I know, I'm being funny. But, I think hopefully they'll be able to get it through one more year. I don't think they'll get any more than that, though. It's bad.
Wow.
That's all I got.
Thank you.
Okay.
Nancy?
Yes. Okay, as Mr. Alexander alluded to, we decided with Mark's recommendation during the ordinance meeting to make a motion to sheriff sale both 812 First Street and 800 Second Street. So I'm assuming we have to make separate motions for those, Craig?
You can do them both at the same time if you want to.
Okay. So these are two abandoned properties. The 800 2nd Street is the old convent property. And 812 First Street, I guess, is just property, I'm not that familiar with it, except that it must have a lot of back taxes. Are you familiar with that?
I get the addresses because when we talk about them, we always talk about last names.
Miller.
The Miller property?
Thomas.
I think that was the one that.
That's that house that comes right down from Spring Alley, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's a decent house, but it has a lot of back taxes. We're gonna try to get it sold before it deteriorates.
Okay, so the recommendation of the ordinance committee is to go ahead and put these up for sheriff's sale. So I'm gonna make a motion that we go ahead with the process to have 812 First Street and 800 2nd Street to be sold by sheriff's sale.
Motion on the floor made by Nancy to sheriff's sale 812 First Street and 800 2nd Street. Is there a second?
I'll make that second.
Second by Mr. Suchovich. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed.
Okay. So, we're still working on researching how we want to revise the food truck ordinance. And we're looking into the weeds and high grass. So, Craig, could you please delineate for everyone what it is we're actually doing? It's not an ordinance that we have, it's the property maintenance code?
When we were in our committee meeting this past Monday, Mark suggested maybe redoing the high weeds and grass ordinance because it was, I think it's maybe a 1969 ordinance originally, but I'm not sure of that. And Nancy gave me a reminder on that, and I explained that hide weeds and grass, there's a code provision that's contained right in the International Property Maintenance Code, which we have adopted by way of our own ordinance, so it is our ordinance. And in that ordinance, it allows you to set your own limits on certain things that the International Property Maintenance Code has a little box that says, set your own jurisdictional limit. And for high weeds and grass, we set it at 8 inches in that ordinance. So we do have an updated ordinance by way of the International Property Maintenance Code, which the courts do enforce. I've actually taken a case all the way to the Commonwealth Court on a code violation with regard to that particular provision, Section 302 of the International Property Maintenance Code, and they upheld it. They upheld it downtown, and they upheld it on appeal. So I think we're covered on that issue.
I think he wanted to have it changed to
He wanted it to be 6 inches as opposed to 8 inches, but that's a council decision if you want to go through that process to do that. I don't know that that's necessary. That's up to you guys.
Would it require the usual ordinance process, or we can't just do an amendment?
If they're letting it go to 6 inches, they're gonna let it go to 8 inches.
It would be a new ordinance because the ordinance that we currently have says 8.
No, it says 6.
Our internet.
He wanted to go to 8.
What's that?
I think he wanted to go to 8.
Opposite.
No, opposite. He wanted to go to 6.
It is 8.
Then maybe that we don't need to, because I feel like he was saying 6 and that it was unreasonable and we should probably just go to 8.
Okay, well, it is at 8 under the International Property Maintenance Code.
We should talk with Mark, because I think that might be okay.
Okay. I think that the Airbnb situation is being handled by our zoning laws. So I don't think we're getting into an ordinance with that, but then there's the shade tree that we're gonna work on, right?
We'll have it for next month.
Okay. Very good. And so that's pretty much it for ordinance stuff. I just wanted to bring up again, we had talked about in the meeting extending the trial for Stonewall for food trucks because he said that he was not able to get any food trucks during the summer. Does anybody have any objection to letting him try to get food trucks for October, November?
Nope.
Why don't you make it in the form of a motion?
All right, then I'll make a motion to extend the food truck trial period for Stonewall until, let's just say the end of the year. Can we do that? It's 90 days, less than 90 days.
All right, I'll second that.
Okay.
Motion on the floor made by Nancy to extend the Stonewall food truck ordinance till the end of the year, current year 2019. Second by Mr. Conti. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed.
All right, that's all I have right now.
Can I jump in real quick? The one thing, and you reminded me, I'm surprised you didn't bring it up, just an update on the salt shed situation.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to bring that up to you.
Okay.
Yeah, so Oakmont is on board with it. I've had a conversation with Scott Fody, the borough manager over there. He wants to just move forward with it and kind of do it as a little bit more of a casual situation. Their street department, our street department, everybody's cool with it. Basically, we would have our salt. For this year, we have to actually order salt and have it delivered there because this wasn't decided until after we committed with Cargill, so we have to take 400 ton of salt whether we like it or not. So for this year, we're gonna have our salt delivered to Oakmont, and then we won't pay Oakmont for salt because 400 ton of it is ours, and they have 600 ton coming. So basically, that's what they use every year. We use 400 ton. So for this year, it's gonna have to be kind of we go with it and see what happens. He doesn't seem to think that Oakmont's gonna charge us a storage fee, or he's not sure what it's gonna be, but I kind of got from him that he felt like we should just try to go with it and try not to
make a big to-do
about it, because a lot of times things over there that get a big to-do end up dragging out for 3 years. So just to run with it, and let's do it and see how this year goes, and then decide if next year we want to pull back. No harm, no foul, we can find something else to do. But that's where we are right now. So the plan is that we don't need that property down there for the time being, so we can use the rest of the salt down there first, and then start taking it from the shed in Oakmont.
So will they need to, the bulldozer thing?
Yeah, so they rent the loader that they use every year. The only thing, that was one thing I discussed with Scott. So instead of us putting our own piece of equipment down there and having two pieces of equipment down there, the thought was, why don't we just split the cost of the loader?
Yeah.
They rent it from Highway, I think. Then we can just all use the same piece of equipment, and it's no big deal. The streets department, public works departments on both sides of the creek are fine with it. They're all happy with it. I don't really foresee any sort of issues getting along.
Well, if their machine breaks down, what are we paying? And they could also, we could bring ours up there to replace it until they get theirs fixed.
We would definitely be able to, but since they rent the equipment, it would have to be on Highway to fix it if the machine breaks.
If they have that written on them, they probably do.
I would imagine that they do.
And what about fuel? I mean,
for that equipment?
Yeah. I mean, there's some logistics that's still got to be worked out.
Yeah, I'll talk to Scott about that, because there are some logistics about the split, the cost split for the equipment and things like that we are going to need to come up with some sort of agreement. But I do also understand not wanting to get this huge government process together, because things then take forever. And the idea is that we don't want any more salt delivered to our shed, because it's not stable and we need to get rid of it.
Yeah, it needs to be done.
So
a long time ago.
that's where we're at for right now. So we have somewhere to put our salt this year.
That's great.
Good deal.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Jerry.
Do we know how many tons of salt is in the shed right now, approximately? You know, Don?
If I had to guess,
50?
we're between 30 and 50.
Okay.
I haven't looked lately, but the last time I looked, it's 30 to 50 tons. That'll last us, maybe two good snows. That's it.
So then the only other thing I could foresee, and hopefully they'll all work it out, is like when we hear there's snow coming, everybody's gonna be running over there loading up their trucks.
But they don't have, I mean, how many salt trucks does Oakmont have? Do you know?
They don't got very many. I think they got three.
Yeah.
3 or 4.
Yeah, so they don't have much more than us. I really don't see this huge traffic jam. It's just the two communities. It's not that far away. And their shed, if you haven't seen it, is
What street's it on?
Ann Street.
Oh, it's on the end.
It's the end of Van on the right
Where the
side.
fire whistle is, right?
What's that?
Where the fire whistle is.
Oh, okay.
It's absolutely enormous.
Wow.
We designed it.
Yeah, it'll hold 1,000 ton. In what? 1,200. It's huge.
Oh, excuse me.
It's way overkill. So in the previous years, whenever we've had issues where we've had shortages, I was in communication with Lisa, the borough manager over there then, and Oakmont's always been, if you need salt, you let us know, we have it, just replace it when you have it. We haven't really needed to do that, but Oakmont always has a very large overabundance of salt. So I think it's gonna work out, but we're not tied to anything. If this doesn't work this year, then we find somewhere to put a shed. But ultimately, if this works out, this could potentially save the borough about $500,000 by the time we were to buy a piece of property and build a shed. So I think it makes sense.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you for your hard work. Mr. McCarthy?
Craig's working with the mayor and stuff on the hiring for the police department. That's it. We're moving on that.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question, Pat? Is there any more news about getting together with Mr. Zappala about the cameras?
I'm working on that.
He's working on that.
Oh, you're working
gonna
on
do
that?
that, yeah.
Okay, thanks, Craig.
Mr. Suchovich?
Jerry's still working on the budget and trying to get that done. We have our dates where we want the budget stuff in and one would like to vote on it. So everything's in line there. And other than that, I have nothing else.
Thank you. Mrs. Loalba?
Parks and Rec, that's at their last meeting on the 1st. They were looking at items for their budget for the upcoming year. They said they would get it to you before the 15th. I had talked with Matt to see about getting inspections for both parks from Mark Ford. He did say he felt more comfortable doing the inspections come spring, and same with the mulching. For the simple reason, if he inspects something now, then come spring, something's not quite right, it could go back on him. Also with the mulching, plus each inspection will cost about $250 each. But with the mulching, Riverbank is in pretty bad shape. It would need to be dug up first, then the mulching. He estimated that project would be about $3,000 for the digging up if he was to do that plus the mulch. We could probably save money if our borough guys had a way of digging it up too. That's one way of looking at, doing that.
Yeah.
He felt the spring as well for the mulch. Whereas up at Cribs, it doesn't need as much done, and it's about, what do you say? About 60, they don't need about 60 cubic yards of mulch up at Cribs compared to Riverbank. So that's with that. So I'll bring up to the rec board. We may need to put that in the budget for spring rather than use that now. We're done. But it needs done, especially Riverbank. It's just overgrown and really bad shape too. I don't know, just a question, were the gazebo lights ordered? We had put in for getting some lights put up for the gazebo.
Yeah, we gotta do that.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yep.
And we're looking also into getting a new board up at the Cribs, for the Cribs sign. Is that from when it was vandalized, it's just really falling apart. I have a hard time putting the letters in to really put anything out, so I really haven't changed it yet. Mike and I were looking into maybe putting like a magnetic board because those letters are so expensive and they're so fragile. They break so easily when I change them. And so we're looking into that right now as well. Other than that, I think that is everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sylvia?
Yes. Our last quarter for newsletter is going to be on December. So with the holidays coming up, the absolute last date that anybody can do articles or ads is going to have to be December 10th. And we really have to hold it there because they close down early, so if not, it takes us clear into the middle of January. So I'm kind of giving a heads up on that. Also have some events coming up. On Thursday, October the 10th, the community group is going to meet at Stonewall at 6 o'clock, and I believe there's going to be discussion there on block watch captains. So that'll be at 6 o'clock, Stonewall Cider House. On October 15th is Chamber of Commerce meeting here in the building, 7 o'clock. Thursday, October 17th is Historical Society meeting here, and the speaker is going to be Perry Blatz, and he's going to speak on pioneers of public history. And that same night, the Trails Feasibility meeting is going to be at the Penn Hills Borough Building up on Duff Road, and that's from 6:30 to 8:30. And Saturday, October 19th is the Borough Fall Cleanup, and that's from 10 until 2. And Monday, October 21st, the Sierra Club meeting is going to be at Stonewall Cider House, and Laura Jacko is spearheading that, and that has to do with environmental issues. So she's inviting everybody to come to that also. And on Thursday, October 24, the Democratic Committee has invited District Attorney Stephen Zappala to come here to the area, and it's going to be a community meet and greet. A lot of people know the name, but they don't know him. They don't know what he's done in the past, what are his future plans. So he will be here at 7 o'clock to meet the people here of our community. And we possibly may have other Democratic Committee officials here also. And Ray, I'd like to ask, I'd like to ask, could we have the fire hall for the 24th for about an hour?
24th of November?
No, 24th of October, Thursday night to 24th.
Thursday.
Yeah, I don't think anything's going on, probably, yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it. And then, of course, workshop will be Tuesday, October 29th, 7 o'clock. That's my report.
The 26th is the Chamber Halloween Parade.
Oh, yeah, Halloween parade, that's right.
It starts at 11 o'clock.
Right, thank you. Thank you. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anything on the ALUM, Mrs. Provenza?
No, there's really nothing going on right now.
Okay, Council of Governments COG meeting, they're going to have in October, they're going to have a presentation at the October COG meeting on the Census 2020 and what needs to be done. The asbestos was reported on, and those are just basically the only two things that are coming up. Tax Collection Committee, TCC, Mr. Suchovich, anything?
Nothing that I know of, nothing that I've heard.
Okay, council will now hear comments from the public on public-related items. Please approach the podium and clearly state your name and address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes.
There's a large crowd here.
Nothing? Nothing. Can I have a motion for adjournment?
Make a motion for adjournment.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Conti, second by Mr. Suchovich. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Good night.
What happened? I drove by and looked.